That's right. All that's good.
It was 20 years ago today that Sergeant Pepper taught the band to play. And they've been going in and out of style, but they're guaranteed to raise a smile. So may I introduce to you the act you've known for all these years, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band.
You are listening to WMNHLP, Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Contact us by email at WMNH953@gmail.com or through our website at WMNHradio.org.
Sometimes it takes balls to be a woman, standing up to a test while wearing a party dress. Sometimes love can be deceiving when you're quietly overachieving. Oh, sometimes it takes balls to be a woman. She's a socialite, a decent housewife, and she makes some mean lasagna. So when the mechanic said to let it all panic, that this was gonna cost you, she said, no, I don't need my engine rebuilt, just check the oil and change the belt. Honey, I know you thought you saw me coming. Sometimes it takes balls to be a woman. Sometimes it takes balls to be a woman, standing up to a test while wearing a party dress. Sometimes love can be deceiving when you're quietly overachieving. Oh, sometimes it takes balls to be a woman. Says I should repent for the money I spent on shoes and bags and jewelry. Where the hell with that? My hard-working ass ain't gonna sit before a jury. I said, now isn't that a mighty small price to pay for all the love I send your way? Honey, when it comes down to the plumbing, sometimes it takes balls to be a woman. Sometimes it takes balls to be a woman, standing up to a test while wearing a party dress. Sometimes love can be deceiving when you're quietly overachieving. Oh, sometimes it takes balls to be a woman. Look at Dolly and Loretta, they still live it to the letter. Oh, sometimes it takes balls to be a woman. Oh, sometimes it takes balls to be a big, 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 big balls to be. Sometimes it takes balls to be a woman.
Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
I stand up here giving speeches for an hour and a half, many times without notes.
Auto sequence starts.
Says who?
everybody. It's that time again. Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from hot, sticky downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. It's almost October, and it's hot and sticky. Of course, streaming at WMNHradio.org. We're on Channel 97 Comcast if you're in the Manchester area, and of course on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. I see Peter White already joins us in the Facebook Live chat, and he's on the couch. How are you, Peter?
Oh, good afternoon, Matt.
Peter White from The Morning Show with Peter White.
Yeah.
I also see Dr. Jeff Cassell is in the Facebook Live chat, as well as Heidi Hamer.
I follow Jeff on Facebook. He's fantastic.
Yes, he is. Yes. I agree. I keep trying to get him to come back on the show, and he won't come in. I don't know why, but one of these days.
He's one of the only guys I actually read what I read
really?
what he writes.
Yeah. And he writes a lot. He's very verbose, but it's good stuff. Highly informative, I would say.
Do you remember his old show?
Well, when I first got to know Jeff, he sent me some clips. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was good stuff.
Right.
It was good stuff. Some of it was he with Steve Valancourt, and he sent me a clip of another show that he went on that was...
And I was never a fan of Steve.
Right.
But the show was good with the two of them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was funny, it was good, it was entertaining.
Absolutely. Let's see. It is Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. Boy, the time, it just all blurs together. There's so much going on.
I did that yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I said it was Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, September 26th, 2018. And coming up today at 4:30 p.m., Dr. John D. Rich Jr. will be calling in, as he does on alternating Wednesdays.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes, it's always... you've been here before when he's called in, right?
Yes.
See, it's helpful to have you here because we discuss parenting, and issues associated with parenting and some side issues. But, I am not a parent. I have not reproduced, so it's helpful to have an actual parent in the room.
Right. Thank you. Well,
yes.
I am a parent.
Yes, you are. Yes. And now my understanding is, Peter, today you're here to, you have some allegations regarding Judge Kavanaugh you'd like to share? Is that?
Not me.
Oh, okay. I might have you
I
confused.
stay out
with
of the
someone.
whole argument. I'm always afraid to say something because then I'm going to get in trouble for saying the wrong thing.
I know, right.
You know?
Well, there is an additional, what's her name, Julia Setwick? I don't even have it pulled up. I should.
Really?
Who's made allegations today. And she's pretty credible. But I did find something else, Peter, that might interest you.
Really?
We were discussing recently, and this is completely unrelated to Kavanaugh, but we were discussing Bert and Ernie. Remember that? And the
Yes.
the controversy around
Yes.
their sexual orientation. Well, someone has weighed in. This is from rightwingwatch.org, my favorite website. Gordon Klingenschmidt, who is a religious right. It's a great name, isn't it? He's a religious right
How many
activist.
How many Gordons do you know?
I personally have never known anyone named Gordon.
Really?
There was a Gordon on Sesame Street, right?
That's right.
And there was
Gordon.
and there was Gordon Jump on WKRP in Cincinnati. The actor.
My grandmother had a brother named Gordon.
So there are Gordons
So
out there.
he was my
They
Uncle
exist.
Gordon.
Right. But probably no one from our generation or younger has ever been named
Right.
Gordon. Well, Gordon Klingenschmidt, who looks like an older gentleman himself, which may explain some of his antiquated attitudes, but he used a recent episode of his show, Pray in Jesus' Name, to talk about Bert and Ernie. Would you like to hear the audio of him speaking about Bert and Ernie and their alleged sexual orientation?
Okay, let her rip.
This is because I'll tell you what, this gentleman, I've played stuff of his before, and it's always nice to be enlightened by his wisdom. He just he has a unique perspective.
Puppets are simply puppets. They are not perverse. And I think Mark Saltzman, I mean, if we were to take a moment and discern the spirits here, Mark Saltzman, by projecting his own sexuality upon beloved children's puppets, is actually trying to recruit children into his perverse lifestyle so that he can eventually recruit them to become what he is.
Says who?
And the sad part of this is that if homosexuals, because they don't have their own children, they have to recruit the children of heterosexual couples in order to continue and propagate their own population of available sex partners, they are perverting and recruiting children by making these false allegations.
Says who?
So he gives us a whole new way to look at the Bert and Ernie controversy.
Right.
Or-
That's so ridiculous.
Or how do they say it on the BBC? Controversy? So yes, that is Gordon Klingenschmidt.
And he has quite the following, you said?
Yes, he's a very successful religious right activist, and he's got quite the following online. And I'm not saying I agree with him at all, but it's quite the unique perspective on the Bert and Ernie debacle.
Yeah.
I say Bert and Ernie can be whatever you want them to be. They can be.
Well, there was an official statement from Sesame Street saying they're not gay.
Right, but if you,
come on.
as a viewer want to imagine them as such, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What goes on
Well, to each his own.
What goes on in the theater of your own mind is your business. I would
Right.
say yes.
It's a little weird.
Yes, it's it's not something that ever would have occurred to me.
Right.
But
it would to some people, though.
and Mr. Klingenschmidt has given this a lot, or Pastor Klingenschmidt has given this a lot of thought.
I'd like to go to his Sunday service.
Would you?
No. I don't go to any Sunday service.
I don't either. We have a call. Perhaps this is Gordon Klingenschmidt. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
No, this is not Gordon.
Oh. Is this...
This is not Gordon, but I am watching your show. I get to watch your radio show.
Yes.
Because it's broadcast on Facebook.
Yes.
And I thought I would step into this whole Kavanaugh thing.
This is Dr. Jeff Cassell, by the way. Oh, I thought you were going to weigh in on Bert and Ernie.
No, I don't know anything about that. And I have never met Brett Kavanaugh, but he looks like he's in a lot of trouble to me.
Yes. I would
And
say
this,
so.
this whole, I'm actually a registered Republican.
Yes.
And it's getting hard to be a Republican these days. As I watch these senators on TV every night. And now Donald Trump has gotten into a big fight with that lawyer for Stormy Daniels, Avenatti.
Yes. Avenatti 2020.
He's just a killing machine.
He's like the Terminator.
I mean, he opened up, all kinds of lines of investigation and lawsuits that seem to have helped the special prosecutor, and he really he took down Michael Cohen, Trump's personal lawyer.
Yes.
And recently, Trump's CFO, who's been with him for 30 or 40 years, has actually been given immunity, so he's cooperating as well.
Yes, he is flipped, as they say, I
When did they
believe.
flip you? Tell me. Don't lie.
He's a flipper. Trump doesn't like flippers. He says it ought to be illegal to cooperate with the
I
government.
think he's worse than a flipper. He's going to turn into a rat, right?
Oh,
I mean, there
yes.
are rats leaving the ship.
That's right.
So when does it all go down? When does it all go
This
down?
Kavanaugh thing's pretty interesting because I've never seen Republicans behave this way. I'm ancient. I'm old enough to remember the Clarence Thomas nomination
Yes.
and Anita Hill. And, of course, you see clips of that on TV. But, of course, the allegations against this Supreme Court nominee are much more serious
Yes.
than what Clarence Thomas faced.
Now, Peter was asking a question. I don't know if you heard him, Dr.
I didn't.
Cassell, but when does it all go down? When does the ship finally go down? Because we talk about the Trump presidency, and it's like every time it seems like this is the last straw, so to speak, and it just keeps rolling along.
Right.
Teflon Don,
Well, when is Kavanaugh going down? That's a different question than
That's true.
when is Trump going to finally go down? Because Trump he's got an army of acolytes who love him,
Yes.
and surprisingly, with all these stories of Trump's misconduct and his sexual assaults of women. It's very surprising that the religious right continues to support Donald Trump.
Well, but,
Given so many of these accusers, and it's it's no longer he said, she said. It's he said, they said.
but aren't they
And
conditioned?
the numbers of people calling Trump a liar, they're proliferating and becoming more numerous every day.
But isn't the religious right, and I know we've talked about this before, Jeff, that isn't the religious right kind of conditioned to accept all of this? I mean, like I think back to when I was a kid, you had, the Jim Baker scandal, and I think Jimmy Swaggart was another guy who got into a lot of trouble.
Well, they both went down pretty hard.
Yeah, but ultimately they're forgiven and, redemption and all that. I mean, isn't the religious right kind of conditioned to accept that these very, very wealthy sort of con men are going to get into all kinds of trouble? And it's okay. They're rich, so they're obviously smarter than we are. And if you're rich enough, you're guaranteed to get into heaven, and whatever else they have been fed into their minds on Sunday morning while they watch the 700 Club on TV and send in their money. I mean, I think they're just conditioned to accept whatever they're given.
So you're saying that their support for even very flawed people is going to continue, that they will continue to support Donald Trump and Brett Kavanaugh no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we've reached a point in the world where this is now a post-truth United States where data and facts no longer matter.
Right.
What matters is belief, faith, and tribal loyalty.
Yes. Nope.
And
ideology trumps everything.
You can't run a big corporation like the United States of America on belief and faith. It actually runs on money. And when it comes to money, there's addition and subtraction, and that's all you have to know. But, getting back to Kavanaugh, there's a lot of Republicans on that committee that are going to be evaluating his fitness for the Supreme Court. And if I were on that committee, I don't think I'd really want to touch this case. Kavanaugh's become radioactive. And even if these accusations against him are completely false, it's going to stick to him. He's a tar baby now, and a connection to Kavanaugh could lead to disastrous results in an election. And we're going to have an election in the next 6 weeks.
By the way, hello to Ben Dion from the Weekly Dion who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Jeff used a term. You should probably clarify the tar baby term, only because some people, if you remember Mitt Romney, I think got in trouble for use of that term. Some people think it's a racist term. Obviously, it's if you know the etymology of it, it's really not. But you should probably just clarify what you mean.
I don't know the etymology and the history of it. I didn't intend any racist meaning.
I know.
I'm just anybody
I'm just looking out for you.
Kavanaugh now is going to be tainted. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That the tar will get on them.
Yes.
He's essentially been destroyed in the press. There are still people that support him, but if I was a U.S. senator, especially one up for re-election, I'd be very careful, and I would be calling for somebody else to come in and take a look at this, like the authorities who investigate these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And the Republicans have resisted that, but I think now this is a way out for them.
Right. Would they go to the FBI? Is that right? FBI investigates?
Well, I think the FBI, they do tend to look at these things. They've looked at Kavanaugh before, but a lot, the FBI does a lot of these background checks, and I'm not so sure that they're all that thorough. And people are very reluctant to talk about things that, are related to their sexual behavior. People, these three women that have come forward, and the third one, the one that came out today, these are absolutely the worst accusations, because she's basically saying that Brett Kavanaugh was part of a rape gang.
Right.
And this was fairly typical behavior during that period. I mean, it happened a long time ago, but these are horrendous accusations, and they're going to stick.
Yeah.
This is not like someone putting pubic hair on the top of a can of Coke.
You're
far worse than that.
And you're referring to, of course, that was one of the accusations that Anita Hill made about Clarence Thomas. A joke that he had made that was obviously
it was
very
a joke,
inappropriate.
But it's really hard to turn rape into a joke.
Right.
And these are the accusations now. There are actually accusations of rape, and these three women are actually corroborating each other's stories. And it sounds like that private school at the time was just a drunken debauch.
Hedonism.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just, it's just hard to imagine. I went to high school. It wasn't like that.
No, it wasn't like that for me either.
But that was during I'm old, so that was during a time when people actually cared about their reputations.
Yeah, well, it's like the other day Mike Doyle called in and he was saying, come on, when we're in high school, we all do this kind of thing. You're trying to hook up with the girls and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, but if you go back to the first accuser, her story, Christine Blasey Ford, her story is that Kavanaugh grabbed her, threw her into a room, pinned her down, forcibly tried to remove her clothing, covered her mouth with his hand when she tried to scream for help. That's not, trying to, that's not even, just simply inappropriate groping or touching. That's an attempted rape. I'm sorry, but that's what I certainly never attempted to rape anybody in high school, and Peter,
I don't remember that either.
I don't think
in my case,
I don't think any of us would have experienced
it's
that.
It's not normal behavior,
right?
But we're seeing a lot of people in Trump's orbit that get connected with all kinds of sexual misconduct and a complete lack of discretion.
Yeah,
I mean there was Stormy Daniels and the Playboy Bunny and then there was the financial chairman of the Republican Party who ended up resigning in disgrace because he got involved with a Playboy Bunny and he had to resign and it just seems like there's just the kind of people that travel in Trump's orbit have character problems. Not all of them, but many of them.
I guess,
and it's getting harder and harder.
It's
for the genuflecting Republicans, the tribal Republicans, to justify this conduct.
Oh,
I don't know how they can keep doing it, but they do. I comment on this because this pretty destructive TV soap opera about Trump, it's interesting to me because I don't understand how 40% of America can support this, but they do.
Well, I figured out.
Shocking to me.
I figured out when I was a kid, all the talk about family values and all that. It's all, it's phony. They don't really mean it. It's all, it's all ideologically driven. It's all partisan, and it's all, and by the way, that's on both sides. I want to be completely fair. You've got it on the left too. The Democrats are trying to ignore these allegations against Keith Ellison. And, they're doing everything they can to just, nothing to see here. And, because he's a Democrat.
There were worse allegations. What about these allegations against Bill Clinton?
Of course, yeah.
Bill Clinton was basically accused of rape.
Yeah.
That tarnished him.
Yeah.
And, when Hillary finally lost that last election, a lot of Democrats said, that's the end of that. Thank God.
Right.
We've had enough of the Clintons.
Right.
And there was Clinton fatigue out there.
Yes.
I'm suffering from, of course, the tribal Republicans claim I've got Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes.
I'm mentally ill.
I know.
Because I don't see all the massive accomplishments of this president. Even at the UN, they were kind of on my side yesterday. They too do not see this as a highly accomplished chief executive of the United States. He's become the bullshitter in chief.
Oh, can't say that,
and
Jeff.
people have come to know him and accept that.
I hit the dump button
but
on that.
I don't accept it. But I noticed that my total of friends on Facebook is declining rapidly.
Yes.
As I'm engaging these people. That's about all I have to say. I thought I'd get something going here.
Yeah.
And maybe some new people will call up. Maybe Peter and you can comment.
Yes.
Even though Peter doesn't like doing it. He's an important radio TV personality. He doesn't want to alienate anybody. I completely understand that.
Yes. All right, Dr. Jeff Cassell, thank you so much for the call, my friend.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. No,
that was great.
Yeah, that
glad he
was.
called.
That was. And and like I was saying too, I mean, they're guilty of it both on the left and the right. When it's their own person, like Bill Clinton, shining example.
Right.
The Democrats just whistle past the graveyard. So I don't want anyone to think.
I mean, look at the thing with Al Franken. The picture that he took.
Yeah.
And then the Republicans on that side were off with his head.
Right.
And he resigned. He was a gentleman, and he resigned.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's
So now it doesn't matter. And these are specific allegations too.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That at least should be looked into. You can't just say. When I hear someone that supports the president say, "Oh, geez, this is the last minute," well, you know what I mean. It's not always the perfect time to come out. Some women don't come out for years and years and years.
Right. Of course. Yeah. And statistically, most rapes allegedly go unreported because that's the thing too. All these people are saying, "Oh, why didn't she come out with this further? Why did she wait so long?" I keep saying, I will never make any judgments about when a woman decides to come forward,
right? You can't.
And talk about what happened to her. I mean,
you can't.
Right? Exactly. I mean, that's yeah. So, I don't know. Before all of this, I mean, I think a week ago at this time, I was saying, I think no matter what, this was when the Christine Blasey Ford had come forward. I said, I think no matter what, he still gets confirmed. This is a bump in the road. But at this point, I'm actually thinking the opposite.
The fun begins tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, she testifies tomorrow, allegedly, unless something goes wrong and she backs out. But yeah, at this point, I'm thinking, because it's going to be, I think, very damaging to the, if they push him through now, because obviously they're in a hurry to get him through before the midterm elections. If they push him through now, amidst all this, it's going to really splash back on the Republican Party going into the midterms. So they're in a very, very precarious position.
Dr. Cassell was right too when he said it's a soap opera, it's a reality show.
Oh yeah,
and we're all watching.
I know, it's incredible. Well, I've always said, I said this a long time ago, before the Trump era, that I never quite understood why reality TV got so big. Because with politics, you've got, it's the ultimate reality show right there.
Yeah.
And you can kind of decide for yourself who the heroes and villains are, depending on how you feel about things and how you feel about the people involved. And it's, it's never ending. But we are in a unique time.
Yeah, I would say so.
The Trump show is quite the time. Yeah, you don't. I mean, on the morning show, you don't usually get into this kind of stuff, right? But what do you do if someone calls and wants to talk about it?
Oh, that's fine. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think if you listen to the morning show every day and you get to know me, you'll know I'm not a fan.
Right,
you know
right,
I mean?
yeah,
You'll know.
yeah.
But it is what it is. I respect everyone's opinion. For some reason, Mike Doyle thinks this guy is great.
I know. Well, Mike's as he describes
By the
himself,
way,
a staunch Republican.
Mike Doyle is supposed to get us a new couch here.
Oh, really?
Right, but we have to take measurements.
Measurements?
Right.
Who wants to do that? I don't even own a tape measure.
I don't know, but he said it a couple weeks ago, and we're still waiting for our new couch.
Measurements of what'll fit there, or measurements?
Well, it has to fit between, for some reason, these things. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it also has to fit through the door. Obviously, that's unless we get it through a window.
No, it'll fit through the
like
door
with a crane or something.
Right.
That would be fun just to do it that way.
Right. I thought it'd be here by now, but.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mike Doyle is, he's slacking. He came in and did the show one day, and it was a lot of fun. I keep telling him he's welcome anytime to come back.
He's a big Trumper. He loves him.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
He loves him. I think he's going to go as him for Halloween this year.
Really?
Right.
That would be very exciting.
Yes.
Now, why would Mike be getting a new couch? Is he in the furniture business? Or?
No. He just notices this one is not that great.
So he just wants us to have a new couch.
Right. He goes, "You want a new couch? I'll get you a new couch."
Wow. Do you feel that couch is subpar in any way?
It's not that great. I've got better couches.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's all right.
I guess I haven't sat on it that much. But so you.
Well, there's all kinds of stains on it.
Right.
Like, where do these come from?
Right.
What's going on here?
Yeah, well, that's, boy. I'll tell you what.
Many people have.
The People's Mayor, Glenn R.J. Willett, is entering the studio. Hello, sir.
Wow.
In a moment.
Don't we have any kind of royal music to play or anything?
You know what we do have? Actually, we do have something. Yeah, let me pull that up really quick, and then.
You look very handsome today, Glenn.
Oh, let me pull your mic up. And then
I don't believe in that stuff. I'm a regular person. Hey, look, they put him up here now.
And then in a minute, Dr. John D. Rich Jr. will be calling in, and we're going to discuss racism.
Ooh.
Yes.
I know, right? So exciting.
So exciting.
Right.
It's something that I've had to confront many times, in my own life. As you know, I'm a Pacific Islander.
Yeah, well, since the 1960s when we started doing this, you think we'd be all done with that by now.
Right.
I've only been doing this show here for about a year and a half, Glenn. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, we're talking about civil rights. We've been fighting.
Oh, right.
The laws are already passed. We're just going backwards now.
Right. It's a race to racism.
Yes.
You got it,
It
Peter.
should be a race to erase racism.
Right. That's true.
Yes,
That's right.
that would look great on a T-shirt. This is
That's an idea. Maybe we'll get one made, right, Pete?
this is Glenn's theme music. I just didn't realize Glenn was coming in
no,
today.
please
so
stop doing that. I don't like that.
I think it's
I
great.
am a regular
Oh,
person.
I love this.
Yes.
That's why they call me the People's Mayor. I don't belong to a party.
People's man today.
Peter sings?
Oh yeah.
We got to get Brooklyn Mike to come in and
Right.
sing this.
I'm gonna get classically trained by Brooklyn Mike.
Yes. Well, we do have a call, so you're off the hook, Glenn. I'll fade out your
Right.
music.
Thank God.
Is this Dr. Rich?
Is this the great Matt Connarton?
It is.
Yes. Glenn agrees I'm great. Yes.
Well, I'm great. You're Matt Connarton. I wouldn't say great.
Oh, well, okay.
Maybe great, but not the greatest.
Well, it is Matt Connarton.
It is, right. Good point, Doctor. Hello, Dr. John D. Rich Jr. joins us, as he does on Alternating Wednesdays. Also here in the studio with us, Doctor.
Alternating Wednesdays.
Alternating Wednesdays. We have Peter White from The Morning Show with Peter White is here. And, of course, the People's Mayor, Glenn R.J. Willett, is here as well.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi.
Actually, I missed my
Yeah,
doctor's
I've
appointment.
enjoyed what I've heard of you in the room there.
Oh, thank
Well,
you.
thank you. So
maybe they're talking about me.
I don't know.
People's
Really?
Mayor.
Well, Glenn's not feeling good. Could you diagnose him with? Can you
No,
tell him your
I-
symptoms?
No, I missed my.
Tell him your symptoms.
I missed my doctor's appointment today. Can I use you for my explanation of having another appointment?
Well, Dr. Rich is not
It's
a
a $20
medical...
It's a $20 copay, Glenn.
She's here.
Is it a prostate exam? By
No
any chance?
way.
'Cause I am not going to agree to that.
He wants
No way.
right.
Some-
No, Glenn.
No,
Glenn likes to get
I'm
when,
that kind of doctor.
I needed a cortisone shot.
when Glenn gets his temperature taken. He likes
Oh.
to have it the old-fashioned way.
No,
Oh, my.
in the mouth, not anywhere
Right.
else.
Yeah.
You're bad,
He
Peter.
likes to earn it.
Oh, Peter.
What did you say, Glenn? Say that again.
I like to have it. I like to put the thermometer in my mouth, not what he's talking about.
Okay.
What am I talking about? That's what I meant.
No way.
And I just want to say for the record, I was in no way getting you to say that again so I can isolate that and use it as a clip. I wouldn't do that, would I, Peter?
No.
No.
And is he doing a special
He
episode
likes
for
to put it in
TV?
his mouth second. That's the second.
Right. Yes, John Hopwood is here also, and he's filming. I think he's going to use this
Man.
for evidence for something. We got a
You
full
got a
house.
full room.
Yeah, he's taking temperatures right
No,
now.
we have room for one more.
Well, we actually do have another. We do have another mic here, but we do have one more. We have Dr. Rich.
Yes.
So, Doctor, how are you, sir? What's before we get into the topic of the day? Do you have anything new to tell us about? Because you always have a lot going on.
Well, I just put an article up about racism, and so that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Yes,
the
good topic.
book is still not up on Amazon, but it should be any minute now.
Okay.
And I don't really know what this means, but I just got word that the book was accepted into the Library of Congress.
That's good news.
That
No,
sounds
that
good.
it means you got
I
a
don't know-
Library of
I don't
Congress.
know why I
and-
would care about that. Does anyone know what that means?
That
Yeah,
means that all books that are legitimate books go into that record.
Yeah, they're in the Library of
Yeah.
Congress. Every book from a legitimate publisher.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very exciting.
Well, I'm in the Library of Congress now.
You're legit.
You are legit. You're too legit to quit. You are in the Library of Congress. Very exciting.
Is your book out yet?
Yeah, that is pretty exciting. The publisher submitted it and they took it, and then she told me, and I was like, oh, okay, is that good? I don't know. It sounds good. I didn't really know anything about it, but
Can we go buy your book out? Is your book out now that we can actually go buy it at the bookstore or something?
it's going up on Amazon in the next week or so.
Glenn, what Glenn wants to
That's
know
the
is
next
when does
step.
it come out on paperback?
Well, it could be hardcover.
Right. On paperback, yeah. Well, I know that the next move after
Glenn.
Amazon is we're having a conversation with Barnes and Noble to try to get it there.
Very good.
And then I've got some local bookstores that are going to be taking it, but that would be what we're doing next.
Because I think Barnes & Noble is currently the nation's largest book retailer, correct?
I think so. Not sure.
Amazon is, if you consider online.
Well, no, I mean brick and
probably
mortar.
Amazon,
Brick
but
and
if you're
mortar.
talking about books that you can actually touch,
Yeah.
It's
as opposed
it's Barnes
to
and Noble.
Glenn is
ebooks or things like that. Yep.
Glenn is the type of guy who likes a book with a spine.
Oh, really?
Good for you, Glenn.
Does your book have a spine?
It can.
Well, it eventually will.
Yes. Once it becomes a paper
There
book.
are, yeah.
Huh. I don't get it. Okay.
You don't
A
get, well, right now
spine
it's
is part
only
of the binding of a book.
it's only I
Daddy.
suspect what he's saying. It's only digital right now, right?
Right.
No, I just meant I didn't get the joke you guys were going for.
Oh, I'm
with the
sorry.
spine.
At the
Every
right,
good
when-
book has a spine.
When it goes out on Amazon, it's oh man, we got a lot of delay or whatever. I keep feeling like I'm talking over people.
Oh,
No,
jeez.
go ahead.
How do you think I feel? No, you're fine. You're fine, doctor. So let's dive into it.
So
You-
when the book comes out on Amazon, it'll be an electronic book at first, and then we're going to do print copies. So
Gotcha.
there will be print copies, but that is the next, on the schedule. Like they roll it out in. I'm new to all this, so they roll it out in different formats at different times and different venues, and
So
they're just telling me what they're doing, and I'm saying okay.
So the spine is coming.
Well, okay. And hello to Brian Brody,
Yeah.
who joins us in the Facebook live chat. The People's Mayor, I have to mute his mic because he's getting a very important phone call. He's a very important man, doctor. But yes, we should discuss your call.
What does it mean, people's mayor? What does that? what
Equine
does that mean?
American.
He's
Oh,
the
don't get
people's
us
mayor.
going.
He's a man of the people. He's you know what it is.
An
He's
equine American of the people.
well that's the people's mayor. But we did have a doctor look at Glenn, and he is actually human. But
You're funny. You
but-
are funny.
yes, but because I'm not sure horses have a prostate.
I'm not a horse.
Right, that's the point.
I'm not Ed the horse.
You're not the people's mayor. You're the people's mayor. Please explain to Dr. Rich. He's interested in you. What is it that makes you the people's mayor?
Vous parlez-vous français?
Oui, or something.
Shouldn't you use two? With Matt?
You should use
What
two.
makes you the people's mayor, man? Get on with it.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that started this, so people call me that. So because I get things done.
You get things done. That's the reason.
Could you ever be the people's alderman at large?
No.
Oh, okay.
I might run for alderman at large someday. Who knows?
Really?
Hello to Brian Brody, who joins us in the Facebook live chat, as well as the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
Gary S. Hopper.
Yes.
We'll see him tonight.
He just got back
You
from
got
Vegas.
a lot of people with titles.
We
This is
do.
New Hampshire.
Everyone here gets
No, it's New Hampshire.
Everyone here gets a title. Well, except me. I don't really have a title. Well, I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I guess that could be my
Oh, you
title.
also have many different names, aliases. Matt Compton.
Right.
Matt
yes.
Connarton?
Matt Connarton.
Yeah, Carnation.
Matt Cornington. Yes, that is true.
I like Compton the best. That's what Eric calls you.
Is it? I've
Yeah.
never noticed
Matt,
that.
are you continent?
Incontinent.
Oh,
Well,
I
I'm
didn't
not,
say that. He did.
Why is he's not wearing a diaper. Those are just his Mickey Mouse trousers.
Why are you?
Continent, that's good.
Mickey Mouse trousers. I like it.
Why are you?
The big
This is a great
buttons.
radio show, isn't it?
Why
If
are-
you were looking from my angle, you could see the big buttons on his behind.
Oh my God.
Why are you accusing me of being incontinent? I'm the youngest one in the room. I'm the least likely to be incontinent.
And who uses the word trousers?
Yeah, good point. Not me, because I'm the youngest one in the room.
I don't use that word either.
No, you
I
use the
understand
word.
people use it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you use the word culotte or pants
Or slacks.
or slacks. Or
Yeah.
slacks is more of a ladies thing, though.
No,
You've never been
Ladies
asked.
wear slacks.
You've never been asked to drop trow.
Oh my. Okay. Well, we already
You've been to France too many times.
we already had the prostate
Right.
discussion. Well, let's talk about racism.
Yeah, good idea. Stay on topic.
Let's lighten up
That's
the
a good
subject.
Right.
transition.
it's a
Yes.
race to racism.
Yes, there you go. Or a race to erase racism, which would look great on a
know-
T-shirt.
Okay.
Before we jump to that, though, I felt like it was important. We have the Kavanaugh thing, and
Oh,
I
you have
heard
you have some
people being
thoughts.
interviewed on the news,
Those Irishmen,
And
what can you do with them?
And some of the people in the room were saying, what high school boy hasn't done something like that?
Oh,
come
Heard
on.
These interviews.
I know. I keep hearing that too,
And so I
it
wanted
drives
to
me
go on
nuts.
the record. I wanted to go on the record and say that when I was in high school, I did not do any of that.
Right.
How about the people in the room? Anybody, like 4 out of 5 people there in the room probably did not do any kind of
Oh, you can.
Brett Kavanaugh nonsense.
You know what?
It's Wednesday, right? So somebody invisible slipped in from Norm's show.
Oh.
No, I want to tell
Seen
you.
by people.
Right.
I did not do anything like that. I was such a good boy in high school. I know it may be hard to believe, but I really was. I didn't go to. Yeah, I didn't do. I didn't.
No gangbangs.
No.
I think the thing that really criticizes him is when the book came out from his best friend, so-called best friend in high school, Mark Judge, and it says in there that they drank a lot and got away with a lot because they didn't remember. And then in the yearbook, what it says underneath his yearbook, that he was a heavy drinker.
And they have the thing
Yeah.
Renata
Yeah.
alumni where they're
Alumni.
claiming they all
So
slept
the question
with
is,
this one
Glenn,
girl.
did you do this stuff in high school?
No.
Okay, John, were you in high school? Were you?
I'm
partying?
still a virgin.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
My God, in high school, I couldn't even go out. I was kept in the house.
Yeah, I mean,
It grew back.
it's like I was saying on the show the other day, because Christine Blasey Ford, her contention is that he grabbed her, threw her into a room, pinned her down, tried to forcibly remove her clothing, and covered her mouth with his hand when she tried to scream for help.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's-
I've done that in high school.
That's an attempt. Oh, yeah, we all have. but,
That's been done to me.
But no, but that's
I've never done that.
It's like I keep telling people if what she says is true, that is an attempted rape. That's not, the kind of everybody groped girls and this and that. No. If what she contends is true, that is an attempted rape, and there's no way to sugarcoat that. There's no way to soft pedal it.
Plus, now we're beginning to show a pattern. It doesn't prove guilt,
No, it doesn't.
But there is a pattern. There's another one who came out, and now there's another one coming out tonight. The
Tonight?
48 hours are out.
Is this Avenatti's
Yes.
client?
Oh, she's already come out.
She's already come out. She was supposed to come out today, so
Yeah.
she's out.
Yeah.
So who is she? Do we know anything about her?
She's pretty credible. She's got multiple security clearances, and
That I knew.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't know her name. Do you know her name now?
Spetwick. I keep getting it wrong. Do you know Dr. Rich? Do you know offhand her name?
What?
I'm looking it up.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
can look it up. It begins
Julie.
SW.
Oh, Swetnick.
I'm trying to remember.
Swetnick.
Julie Swetnick. Yeah.
Where's she from?
Wetnick.
Right now.
Where's she from?
Yeah, well, one was from Colorado.
I'm
but
looking.
It's not where she
She
was.
went to a public.
Australia.
She lived in the area where near the private school. She went to a public school at
Okay.
the time,
Yeah.
and apparently she was present at a party where supposedly, I have to say allegedly or
Mhm.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Kavanaugh and Judge and some other people had drugged her. They would give them a lot to drink and then drug them so that they were out, and then they would do a train.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yes,
Sounds
Glenn.
like Cosby, doesn't it?
Glenn's eyes lit up.
lined up and
No, they did not light up. Are you
I
crazy?
don't know. So it's just highly violent.
It
And
varies.
Yeah.
to
No, it
me,
is.
The thing that's most disturbing is that if you're a heterosexual male and you're trying to bed some woman, I mean, part of the pleasure of it, I think, is that she agreed to it.
Right.
I would
yes.
hope so.
Yes.
Do
Yes. Yeah. Consent is. It's nice when
as
they.
opposed to just taking it by force.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Now, and we should clarify too. In the case of Julie Swetnick, she's not claiming that Kavanaugh raped her, but that Kavanaugh was at parties where this was going on. So she's not saying. Just to be fair, she's not.
What's her accusation? then?
She's not claiming that Kavanaugh did anything to
Well-
her directly, but she was there when he was there and witnessed him engaging in some pretty reprehensible behavior.
But she's an accuser, so what is she accusing him of?
What
Well-
reprehensible behavior? Just
No,
drinking?
So that's not true, actually. I saw an interview with Avenatti today where somebody said that she's not actually accusing him of raping her, and then he said, actually, look at line 13, and it says that she became a victim. Like they drugged her with some.
That's
like,
what I thought.
Quaalude or who knows
Oh.
what.
I didn't realize
The-
that.
the
They
doctor is
lined
correct.
up and trained her as well.
Oh my
Jeez,
God.
ugh.
Now, out of body's supposed to also have 4 witnesses that come along with that. Did they also mention that in that interview today?
Right. So she has some people who know about it that she taught. I don't know if they were witnesses, but she has people who, contemporaneous people that she spoke to about the incident. So it's not like she's coming up with it out of thin air. There were people at the time that she talked to. Just like Comey says,
Yeah.
you know, after
Right.
Trump pulled him aside, he immediately wrote it down, so they had a contemporaneous account of it.
You would think, Doctor, that if he really wanted to clear his name, he keeps talking about his good name, and a person's name is really needs to be good. No question about that. That's very important, the identity of someone. But if he wants to clear his good name, why are they so afraid of having the FBI do a 3-day investigation, what they did, like they did with Anita Hill,
Right.
and get it done? Because if
Exactly.
you talk to the FBI and you lie, it's called perjury.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the problem?
No, that's a great point,
Well, I'll
Glenn.
tell
Yeah.
you.
Go
I'll
ahead.
tell you the thing that I don't hear people on the news talking about that much, although I just heard it on your show, is that the midterms are coming, and if they don't put somebody in there quick,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that when we get to the second week of November, they're not going to have the option to put
Right.
in somebody
Right.
with the views that they're looking to put in.
The clock is
So
ticking.
I feel
yeah.
like to open this up too far is to risk not being able to nominate him. And if they have to start over, they're not going to have the time to nominate somebody before Congress possibly could flip.
That's a very
yeah.
good point. But on
I
the
think
other
that's the issue.
well, it's half the issue. The other side of the issue is they picked him for a reason. One of them is that he's already made the statements and he's judged that in some of his judgments on paper that he doesn't think a president should ever be arrested or investigated or they're above the law.
Indicted. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they're really pushing for this. Plus, he says it's time for us to get rid of was it Wade versus
Roe v. Wade.
Roe
Roe
v.
v.
Wade.
Wade, and then he wants to change the law.
Roe v.
We will be going backwards instead of frontwards. We're not going forward. We're going back. So it's like
Right.
it's like the civil rights days. We passed all these laws, and now we're going back the other way.
Like you say all the time, Glenn, what happens
a
in
test.
Africa
It's
stays
a
in
test.
Africa.
Ha ha ha. You ever been there? I haven't.
It's a test.
No.
I mean,
He's been to
I'm
Australia.
convinced that they could find another person who had similar views.
Of course.
They can.
If
And
the
even get it
midterm
through.
elections were 6 months from now, they would let this guy go and just pick somebody different.
I think they'd
So
be
there's
better
no
off.
time
They'd
to
be not.
start over with
They'd
a
be
new
better
person.
off nominating Bill Cosby.
Ooh, jeez.
He
at this
can't
rate.
now. He's a
Yeah.
convicted felon.
And you know what's so funny, Doctor, is that the other two ladies, there was
Maybe
one
the
yesterday,
blind
now
could
we
be the
have
people's
two more
judge.
now. And what they're doing is they're saying to the second lady that, give us what we need and we'll start the process. Well, guess what? After tomorrow, the process is gone because they've already determined that on Friday morning at 9:30 a.m., they're making a decision.
Right.
That's fake.
Uh-huh.
That is not judge. This is how. That means we're going to have someone on the judge as a Supreme Court justice that will react that way. That's not how justice is committed.
You are all fired up.
He's all
well,
fired
because
up.
it's wrong.
Okay, okay.
No, they should-
Why are you yelling at us?
I'm passionate in what I believe in.
That's why I think they should cut him loose because at this point, if they just railroad him through to get him in there, before the midterms and everything, it's the splashback on the Republican Party for that is going to be.
But
Plus, his name will be
Horrific.
mud for 40 years.
Just-
yeah.
just because the committee will vote for him doesn't mean he's going to go through the full Senate. But of course, Collins is on that committee, and one of the things why Feinstein came forward was when it was leaked that Collins had already made a deal from the beginning with Trump that she would support Kavanaugh, and she still is equivocating.
Collins is a senator, but she's not on the committee. The 17
I
Republicans.
thought she was on the committee.
No, the 17
Oh.
Republicans
Oh,
are all
okay.
men, remember?
Right.
Oh,
on
that's
the-
right.
on the-
She's one of 4 Republicans that are considering to vote no.
Yeah.
If 2 votes no, he doesn't get in.
on the,
I thought
on
it was
the,
3.
judiciary.
It could, 2 would make it a tie. Who would break the tie? Oh, the vice president.
Oh, before we move on to racism, there is a party going on at Kavanaugh's house Friday night.
Nice.
I won't be there.
Bring your train.
Will you be there, Peter?
Oh, good Lord.
Bring
Where's
your
his house?
Quaaludes.
By the way,
Bring your robe.
Hey, who didn't
Who's
take
got the lube?
Quaaludes in the 80s?
by the
Right.
way, hello to the newly married John Midas Manning in the Facebook live
Hey,
chat.
congratulations.
Oh boy,
Yes, yes.
Midas.
Well, so Matt,
you
you
happy
know
or
that
you
I,
married?
you know that one of the things that I write about a lot is parenting,
Yes.
and so something else that upsets me about the current situation is that I want to teach my teenage boys to be respectful of women, and if they say no, to, allow that to be the end of the conversation and stuff like that, and
Right.
to try to tell them that if you're in a room and somebody is doing something to somebody else without their consent, that you need to get out and tell somebody about it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the message is potentially that if you do these kinds of things, if you act like, like a power-hungry man and just take what you want, that there are actually rewards for doing so.
Yeah.
Crazy,
so that's
isn't
the
it?
worry that I have is, you're
It's
like, I
crazy,
don't want
but
to
it's
hear
true.
that you ever put your penis in somebody's face when they were unconscious. And
Right.
then what if my son says, but I want to become a Supreme Court justice?
Right. Or what if your son said,
Yeah.
"Well, I heard all teenage boys do this
Well,
at some point, Dad.
Oh, I
What's the
want to
big
become
deal?"
president.
As Homer Simpson revealed in The Simpsons,
Right.
The late Chief Justice Warren Burger was both Chief Justice and a male stripper. And, of course, Marge called him that, but he said, Marge, now who's being naive? You can't argue with that.
That's right. Yeah, yes, I wouldn't even attempt it.
All right, let's get on to
stripping?
the racism part of the show here.
Peter really wants to talk about racism as
Oh,
we
boy.
as
I
we
wanna talk about
race
stripping.
as we race to erase racism.
Yes.
Well, we would like to do that.
We're gonna
Oh, that's good.
we're gonna solve it right now.
I still feel ashamed that I'm part French Canadian.
I want to tell you, I agree with, as far as racism goes, I agree with Glenn.
Yes.
What, that it's shameful to be French Canadian?
No,
No, that was you.
Oh, okay.
that in the 1960s we fought this war and we won,
It's a step backwards.
and now we're going backwards.
Yes. How do we not go backward, Dr. Rich?
I grew up to respect all.
Yes, of
Me
course.
too.
People are people.
Purple, yellow, brown,
You don't have to
black,
like him, you have to
gay,
respect them.
whatever.
A human is a human.
Biologically, we're all the same.
Right,
That's right. We all bleed the same.
right.
Mm. Go ahead, Doctor.
You could have
Yeah,
heard
well, I
you
know
could have
that
heard a
we've
pin
all-
drop.
All right. Go ahead.
All right, more with the racism,
I know there are
doctor.
a number of people. We are. I feel like we're in an argument between, like it used to be, whether racism existed or not. But now there are certain people who feel emboldened to be racist, as if that's a legitimate viewpoint. And so
Right.
I think, the argument now is the people who are wanting racism to be a thing of the past eventually need to be actively anti-racist and to call that kind of stuff out.
I agree.
So, there's a difference between the structural racism, like the stuff that still seems to be manifested in the world in terms of people from different backgrounds having disproportionate amounts of wealth or disproportionate representation in the prison system and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the racism, the racial biases that we all have as a result of growing up in this culture. And so that's what the article is about. Since I'm a psychologist, I tend to focus more on the individual side than the social side.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about was this really interesting experiment that anybody can participate in. I'm not making any money for saying this or anything. This isn't an advertisement. This is out of Harvard. So if you go to Google and you type in implicit attitude test, there's an experiment that you can take. And what's really interesting about the experiment is that unlike other things where if you know what the experiment is about, you can kind of fake the result that you're looking for, that our racial biases are so ingrained for most of us that you can know that it's looking for racial bias and it'll still reveal your racial bias.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage the listeners who are interested in testing this out to look at it. So you go Google implicit attitude test and then choose the, select the one that's from Harvard. and then it'll give you a bunch of choices, and you want to pick the race IAT.
Okay.
So this is what it does, is you're on your computer screen, and they want you to respond as quickly as possible. They have this list of adjectives. They have positive adjectives like trustworthy, honest, good, attractive, things like that. They have negative adjectives like criminal, unreliable, lazy, things like this. And so what they do is they give you these different rules, and you'll have different trials. So let's say, for example, in the first trial, they might say, we're going to show you a series of faces. Some of them are African American, and some of them are Caucasian. Whenever you see the Caucasian face, we want you to click on the key that corresponds to the positive word. And whenever you see the African American face, we want you to click on the negative word.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll do that for a little bit, and then they'll switch it. And they'll say, now, when you see the positive word, or when you see the African American face, we want you to click on the positive word. And when you see the Caucasian face, we want you to click on the negative word. And then they calculate how long it takes you to be able to have that reaction.
Yeah.
And over again, no matter who you are, whether you're black or white or Asian, doesn't matter, almost everybody will take a significantly longer, like on average, to pair the positive word with the black face and the negative word with the white face.
Interesting.
It's just this really elegant and clever way to get around people's desire to say the right thing and to give the politically correct answer, and reveal like your brain's struggle to put two things together that have not been as strongly associated.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense.
So that's it. That's
yeah.
That's like the interesting like.
And that.
So it's a way, like I said, even African Americans will reveal a preference, even if it's slight, for white faces, meaning that they can pair the positive word with the white face more quickly than the positive word with the black face.
You make it sound like we've all been brainwashed.
Validated.
We were raised that way? Is that what we're coming out?
Say again?
You make it sound like we've all been brainwashed, or we were raised in a society that talks like that.
Well, that is. I mean, yeah.
Well, I guess so. The theory behind it is that you have seen a lot more, for example, over a period of time as you've been growing up.
Right.
You've seen more black faces associated with criminal behavior and more white faces associated with successful business people, or other types of successful situations, that people who are African American are more closely associated with lower status jobs, prison behavior. There are all these stereotypes that are out there, and I know that the media has become pretty savvy about trying to create diversity in their advertisements and to be careful about saying the wrong thing or whatever. But over the course of the decades of your life, you have seen certain characteristics associated with certain types of people so many times that that's now like your brain is wired to be able to put those two things together.
So what happens at the end of the test, doctor? Does it tell you you're like, I mean, does it assign you some sort of a score, like you're this level of racist, or congratulations, you're only slightly racist, or what does it give you?
Well, it doesn't use that language because you don't want to go full on attacking people like that.
You're not
So
David Duke. You're more
it'll
like
say
Archie
that
Bunker.
There are some choices. Like one choice is it'll say you're strong. You have a strong preference for white people, or you have a moderate preference, or you have a slight preference, or you have a slight preference for black people, moderate, strong, things like that.
Yeah.
So it talks just about, it's trying to phrase it in terms of the data, that when you calculate the average amount of time it takes you to do the congruent pairing of the face with the adjective versus the incongruent pairing, that, you know, like which one is easier for your brain to process more quickly.
Okay. So I'm going to take this test tonight, and I will reveal the results tomorrow on the show.
I don't even want to know.
And I'm wondering, well,
that would be great.
You don't even want to know.
I was gonna ask if the other gentleman in the room will make
See,
the same
I would, because
commitment.
I'm such a big believer of equal rights that I'm just curious how it's going to come out.
Yes.
Because if it does tell you the truth,
What's the truth? What is truth?
well-
that Justin Pilot asked.
truth is how you answer it. At least it'll tell you if you're one way or another. If you're really in the middle.
So I'll ask you a question. From 20 years ago, or it might have been the time around the Omnibus Crime Act, if 39% of the convicted felons are African American males, about 6.5% of the population, would it be irrational to associate with murder or whatever, or drug dealing or anything, when those are the crime statistics?
No, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I say no.
No,
Can't
I'm
speak
saying,
for
is it
anybody else.
irrational to do
I
that?
say it's for
And
me.
is that racist?
For me, it's not. It's not, because we all know today that there are a lot of people who are in prison that are there for too long, and it's because
But answer the
of a
you're not
race.
answering the
I'm
question.
answering the question the way I know best. I'm not going to give you a fake answer.
But you're talking about a test. What would you expect? That you have to actively say what the 39%?
No,
I'm not going to associate.
I would say
that?
what I feel in my heart. I'm sorry. That's what you call
But that's
truth.
the heart. No, well, the heart's not science or whatever.
Well, it may not be science.
isn't
but
truth.
It's the way I
And
was
if you
raised.
and if you do the whole thing, remember he agrees. That
Right,
with,
right.
Rudy Giuliani.
So you're going to do the test, Glenn?
I would like to do the test.
Yeah, but there's already a built-in bias in the test.
I know that, and that's good. I mean, it's up
good
to me
because
if I'm
it decided that it's going to portray you that way.
not necessarily.
John sounds skeptical of the
Right, these
test.
tests
Yeah,
are-
if you speak of your beliefs, you find the ones that comes with your beliefs, and it doesn't have to take a long time, like he said.
So you're biased.
No, I'm not biased.
You're biased towards. You're going to actively say, well, if I associate criminality or drug dealing,
the
or
test-
say being a pimp or
the
something with
test-
African American.
The test is supposed to judge you on what you believe.
But you believe.
See what you
Yes.
started, Doctor?
It's not. It's not to
Well,
go
these
one way
tests
or the
are-
other. It's
You know, they already got a built. I remember a thing where they used to do a thing about racism in sports, which it got so ridiculous at a point.
Hurry up
where
and
they give you
hypnotize this
a,
guy.
Well, okay.
They would give you a rating about the sport. You know, there was a problem with, like, in baseball and other sports, you don't have the managers, you don't have coaches and that. But it was, you know, I'll dig it up because that was from the 90s. Sports Illustrated used to, wrote a few articles about it. But it was to a degree where to get an A, it would have to be, like, practically everybody would have to be African-American or minority.
If I tell you right now, if I took a test,
and there was
and
racism
I
in baseball.
absolutely want to guarantee myself an A, and for doing that,
So
I'd have to
you're
go
going-
against my will.
You're going to change
I wouldn't get
what
an
you
A.
think. You're actively going to change what you think to get an outcome that you want.
No, it's exactly what I'm saying. The opposite.
Okay.
I'm
You
saying,
usually sit here.
I'm
Doctor.
saying, I'm saying that if the test, if for me to get an A, I had to go against my belief. I would not get an A because I can't do that.
All right. Well, let's. Dr. Rich is still on the phone with us, and by the way, we are joined by the
So you
Honorable
admit
Gary
you're a
S. Hopper. But I do want to ask before we wrap up this segment. I just want to ask quickly, Peter, will you take the test?
Are you going to segue?
Yeah, you're gonna have to send it to me.
Yes. Well, it's in
Same
the
here.
Where can we find that again, Doctor? Tell us where. I'm not going to put Gary on the spot because he's just walked in. He doesn't know what we're talking about.
I'll
but,
do it.
But, he'll do it.
I'm sure it'll find me to be a racist because it's structured that
But
way.
where? But tell
You
us.
don't have to answer it then.
Tell us again, Doctor, how to find the test.
What do I do? Job it?
All right, so if you go to Google and you type in implicit, IMPLICIT, attitude test.
Yes.
You
not
want
writing
to
it
find
down.
the one that is from Harvard. So
Harvard.
the
Harvard,
web address
Harvard,
is actually
Harvard.
implicit.harvard.edu.
Okay. But there's also a link to it.
Implicit attitude test. There's going to be a number of hits on Google because people have written about this test, and there's a Wikipedia entry and stuff like that. So you want to look for the one that's implicit.harvard.edu and choose the race IAT option. Although there are other implicit attitude tests that you can take for different.
Can
other
you
groups of
email the
people,
link to Matt?
etc. But so
Oh my gosh.
We'll take the one in
again?
French.
Can you
and
email
Quebecois.
the link to Matt, so Matt can email it back to us?
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say.
I'll email it back to Matt after Matt emails it to me.
We can all email it to
Well,
Glenn
let's
Argila.
all email it to each other. No, but there's also a link to it.
daisy chain.
So Matt, I can tell that you want. I can tell you want to end the segment, so I feel like I just want to quickly respond to a couple of the comments.
Oh
So,
yeah, please, yes.
First of all, you can manipulate the results of the test if you decide that that's what you want to do. And
Sure.
how would you do that? Well, now you know what it's looking for, so you could say, whenever it's asking me to associate the white face with good or the black face with bad, I'm going to do that as quickly as possible. And
But-
when it wants me to associate the white with bad and the
But you know,
when the white with, you're just like take a lot longer when you know what I mean, like purposely
Mm-hmm.
take a long time. So
That's
that
not
the
right.
time reveals that. So you just have to decide that you really want to know the unconscious part of your brain and the
Know what?
and how difficult it might be for you to put those things together. How
Have you-
long
have
does
you
it take?
taken
It
the
takes
test?
like 15 minutes.
Have you
I,
taken the test?
this test.
The test that
already
the
know-
doctor's talking about.
I
Has he-
already
Have I
know.
taken
I
it?
already know it's going to prove I'm a racist.
Well,
because
no,
it's
no,
set
I'm
up
just
to do
curious.
that.
Did
Ha-
the doctor take the test?
Have you taken the test?
I have taken the test, yes.
Okay, what are the facial expressions on the pictures?
I mean, I've taken it.
What are the,
No,
no,
we can't know because we're going to be taking the
Garrett-
right, but
Garrett-
what
Gar-
I'm curious to.
You're trying to get the answers ahead of time, Gary.
No,
You're trying
I'm
to cheat.
not. I'm not trying to trick anybody. What I'm curious to know is if you've got like, if the white face, the guy looks really pissed, and a different face, the guy looks happy and joyous. That's going to affect your reaction to it
Right.
probably more than the color of the
course, yeah.
skin.
Right,
I mean,
facial
it's a-
expressions.
It's a really well, from the standpoint of research design, it's a really well done study where they're trying to control for things like that. The faces have a flat affect. They're all black and white pictures so that nobody is wearing more colorful shirts or anything like that. So they are trying to take care of those things.
I'm
Okay.
And then as
colorblind.
far as the idea of like, well, doesn't it make sense to associate black with criminal because 39% and all of that stuff? Well,
I don't buy that.
so if
Why?
you know, considering the
Why
drug
wouldn't a
war,
nor-
let's talk
Because
why
it's
about
not
wouldn't a
drug
true.
normal
war
person?
Let-
It's not
and
true.
the numbers of
Hey,
It is
people.
true. Those are
Can
statistics.
you guys not talk over him, please? Because we're trying to wrap up the segment. So I'm sorry, doctor. Go ahead.
That's okay. So the numbers of people who have been, numbers of black people in particular who have been arrested for minor drug offenses like marijuana, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I was in college, I was smoking marijuana. I was smoking marijuana walking down the middle of the street of Philadelphia, not worried at all that I was ever
we're
going to be
I stopped
arrested.
violent crime.
And I never was arrested.
Right.
And everybody that I know smoked pot
Well,
all
I
through
know white
college
people that have
and
been
never got arrested.
This
So-
is bull.
If I were to say,
Self-serving.
if I were to
stuff.
say that the government was going to come out with a policy where we were going to target certain behaviors, like let's say target people who had a massive amount of body hair, and we found that the proportion of
Unsafe.
Yetis, the Yeti American
Matt, you're in
population
trouble.
in the
Matt, you are
prison
in deep
system was
doo-doo.
So you
disproportionate.
deny that
We would then conclude that Yetis were criminals, but that was just a manipulated outcome.
I deal
That's
with
so the arrest record and the statistics and the violence and let's say these neighborhoods or a culture itself like of rap music where songs but when I get out of here I'm going to shoot that you so and so and misogyny you're just supposed to think it's just art and not expression because you're talking about stuff these are demonstrable facts. Now you're talking about marijuana. Where do you live? Have you ever lived in New York City? I lived there in the 80s
Philadelphia,
and
you
stuff.
said.
I mean, you're talking about violence.
Yeah, I
White
grew
people
up
can
in
be
Philly.
violent too. Yeah.
I grew up in Philly.
You're saying that. So you're
And my-
saying that
my
the
experience
39% of the people or whatever that's all blown out. That white people and black people commit crimes at the same rate, right?
You seem
Or
to think it's
whatever.
a conspiracy.
I mean, it's not a
Not.
conspiracy, but
Well, actually-
this is all like some type of trip on. My point is when you do have, like I said, back at the time the omnibus crime bill, which was supported by liberals, Joe Biden, Kennedy, and Bernie Sanders, who later says tries to equivocate voting for it. It's like rewriting stuff. When the time of those statistics and stuff, I'm talking about when you see that, and if a person did associate, let's say, a face of somebody like in colors or with a violent look that was African American with violence, you're going to hit on them for that when all the evidence of the culture of the experience of statistics and that, and then you're changing the subject to marijuana crimes, which is something that just came out. Yeah, people that when you're poor, you get busted. You don't have a recourse to lawyers. You've got a civil defender, a public defender, and stuff.
Not a fair system.
But yeah, that's
actually, I think the crime statistics are not. The color of the skin is less relevant. I bet you if you looked at crime statistics based on family structure, I bet you there'd be a far stronger correlation than color has to do with it anyway.
Sure. Fatherless homes, yeah.
When you're dealing with a community that has struggled to get out of all the poverty. My father, I used to listen to rap music. He says, "Oh, it reminds me of the 1930s. We all like Jimmy Cagney movies in the Depression. In the Depression, Al Capone got more letters than the president.
Well,
when
let's
Dillinger got shot, everybody was, oh my God, they hated the FBI because they would identify with these people. So when white people are poor too. But my only point, and I'll say, is that if you're exposed to all this, and then you say, well, you associate, then you say, oh, you're a racist. What would you expect the response to be?
Well, I don't think the point of
what would you expect the response to be?
I don't think
conditions.
I don't think the point of the test. I mean, doctor, tell me if I've gotten this wrong. I don't think the point of the test.
You can be brainwashed.
I don't think
you're brainwashed by liberal pep.
Hang on. I don't think the point of the test is to say, "Hey, look at you, you're a racist." I think the point of the test, if I understand this correctly, doctor, is to just reveal that we do have learned racial biases to one level or another, and it's interesting to see
how much
to kind of measure measure that. Am I correct in that?
And then getting away from the controversial argument that's occurring, let me just say that as a psychologists believe that if you take something that's unconscious or subconscious and bring it into consciousness, it gives you a better opportunity to try to work on it.
Right.
So whether or not you believe one statistic or another statistic, I think we're all in agreement that we shouldn't be judging books by covers. And if we find out that these associations are in our brain, it gives us the opportunity to work on them and become more aware of them.
Very well said,
Do
doctor.
you know what, let's say the stereotypes put in your head by PTSD or something, or the programming, that is to make you survive. If you're in some type of marginal community, you're going to be wary of people because you're going to be reading signs on the street and that. Everybody does. And because you're trying to survive. Right. If you're in a jungle in combat or something, So you're talking about something. I just don't accept the, I already know. We were here with Elizabeth Rowe. I'm racist. I know it from my culture. I've been ingrained with that.
You've talked about that, yes.
When somebody said something offensive about IQs, everybody thought I was going to throw the guy out of the window.
Right,
but,
right.
It's just, maybe, I'm just misinterpreting. This is for middle-class people to realize, oh, boy, and then they won't do a damn thing.
What is that all about?
Well, I hear that.
I guess
they're coming for you. They're coming for you.
I'm so good.
Go ahead, doctor.
I'm not in any way trying to say that there might not be a reason that the associations exist.
Right.
I'm just suggesting that we probably might not like it if we discover that those associations are in our brain swimming around without our awareness.
Right.
And so I'm happy that there's a way for all of us to discover if we want to take the test truthfully without trying to manipulate the outcome. To be open to whatever it says about us so that we can do some work on ourselves and be a little bit more open-minded.
Very well said.
No, I think that's a positive. All right, doctor.
I'm a Republican. I can't afford to be open-minded.
There you go.
Really? You just lost my vote.
Well,
again?
Doctor, before we let you go, and thank you, you've been very generous with your time today. We've kept you a long time. But please, let's get your plugs in for remind us about the book and your website and the show and all that good stuff. Go ahead.
Well, I'll put the book on the shelf.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
Until that was kind of a joke.
Yes.
like I'm not going to talk too much about the book because I can't really direct people toward it yet. But maybe in 2 weeks I'll be able to do that.
Okay.
For right now, my website is drjohnrich.com. I have this racism article is going to be appearing next week on Manchester Inklink.
Nice.
It's already up on the Psychology Today website, and yeah, that's the majority of what I'm up to now. I'm in the middle of teaching, so my internet life is I'm less prominent on there than I was over the summer because I'm teaching.
Yes, yes. It's your busy season, so to speak, or seasons. All right. Well, Dr. Rich, thank you so much. This has been one of the more exciting segments that we've done with you.
Now, don't forget to email
how
him
about
the
that?
link.
What do you have to interrupt, Glenn?
Yes, Glenn.
Don't forget to email the link.
I want to take the test.
Here's what we'll do. I will post the link. No, here's what we'll do. I will post the link on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, and then hopefully everyone will take the test. And then I'm going to take it tonight, and I will reveal the results tomorrow here on the show. But all right, Dr.
Can you email me the results since I might not be hearing the show? I'd be curious.
Yes, I will email you, and I will email Glenn as well.
You have to listen to the show.
Okay, great.
That's an order.
Oh, Sergeant Hopwood just gave you an order. All right, Doctor. Thank you so much for the call, my friend. Always a great time, and we'll talk to you again in 2 weeks.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Ooh, I can't wait.
That was a good discussion.
That was good. Yes, yes.
I didn't like it at all.
It's constructive.
Gary didn't enjoy it.
Well, I had no idea what you're really talking about.
Because he missed half three quarters of it.
Does Gary know we're filming a documentary?
Came in late.
The camera's upside down because we're filming a documentary. Glenn R.J. Down Under.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He's Glenn. I don't know if you know this, Gary. Glenn's running for mayor of Australia.
Really? I didn't think so.
Australia now.
Does Australia have a government mayor? I don't think so.
No, you mean Austria.
Oh, Austria doesn't have one either. No country.
Oh, then I
has
got to
it.
flip the camera.
Educate yourselves, idiot. There's no such thing as a mayor of a country.
I can't believe you just called someone an idiot.
Who are you calling
There
an
are
idiot?
mayors of countries.
Calling you people of countries, not of cities and towns.
Mayors of countries.
Not of countries.
Yes, there are, Glenn. Some countries are just towns. Singapore.
Oh, see, there you go. Have you
I
ever?
gotcha.
That's part of China. That's part of China.
Singapore's not a part of China.
It is now.
Have
No,
you
it's
ever?
not. I'll bet you 5,000 American dollars that it's
Oh,
not.
American dollars.
I'm
Yes,
not
because
better,
Glenn
but
might give
As
me some
opposed to,
Austrian dollars.
All right, we
I
have
don't
a.
have no
what
arse.
about 5,000?
Hang on, guys. We have a call. Hey, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the
Venezuelan
afternoon. Who's
dollars.
this?
Hey, Mike Doyle here. What a lineup of happy fellows you got going on there.
Happy fellows.
Happy fellows.
What are you implying?
Nothing, just a bunch of happy fellows.
Oh, okay.
How do you think Trump
He's
would
just
handle that test?
Everybody seems to be in good cheer.
Yes. Yes.
But hey, I just wanted to. I don't know if you guys read the statement of this new girl that's come out now, and she's talked, and it's
Yeah, I have.
online now. It's everywhere. You can see it.
It changed your mind, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's changed my mind. Listen,
He
I
could
don't
shoot-
know
he could
if
shoot
it's ever
somebody
was
in Fifth
done,
Ave.
and neither do you guys. Yeah, obviously you guys
Correct.
want it to be true.
no, no,
I don't
no.
want it to be true.
Why
But
do
if
you
you
say
read her
that?
statement,
I think it's a total crock of
in her
BS.
words, she says she went to parties where girls were being drugged and gang raped. Do you want me to read it to you
Gangbanged.
verbatim?
Yeah, we know what
And
it
then
says.
she says,
We know what it
I have a
says.
firm recollection of seeing boys lined up outside rooms at many of these parties. So she says she was going to parties, many of these parties, in her words, where girls were getting gang raped.
Gangbanged.
That's her words, not mine.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Doesn't that seem a little odd that if people are getting gang
Cheer,
raped
the
at
gangs
private
will-
school parties and nobody's calling the police, a parent,
Well,
somebody?
what doesn't sound believable is why would a girl go back to a party where she know this type of stuff's going on?
But my,
Not once,
Right, so
but 10 times.
that's in paragraph 13.
How if she did go to
In,
the parties?
in
Does that mean
approximately
they didn't happen?
1982, I became the victim
That's-
of one of these gang or train rapes, where Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh were present.
So
Shortly after the incident, I shared it with 2 other people. So she didn't call the cops. She got gang raped. Nobody called the police. Just
Doesn't
hold
always
Frank,
happen
just
like
tell
How
the
many
parents,
people-
Michael, it's
Have you
been
ever
going
had-
on for years at St. Paul's and Concord. So come on, how many times have they actually called the cops?
Yeah, a lot of rapes go unreported.
Yeah.
Many.
But I do
Here
agree.
in the Queen City.
But where I do
rape,
agree with
rape
you,
of a 15 or 16-year-old girls go unreported.
I'm
it
sure
happens too much.
You
trust
kidding?
me.
I'm
Look
sure.
what you're
I'm
talking.
sure it happens all
Look
the
at
time.
what you're
Week
talking
after,
about, Mike. I got
at
sued
at
over
many of these
over-
parties, according to her, and nobody said anything. Come on.
What
Are you
about
kidding me?
We're not going to talk about it, but you're talking to somebody that gets sued for trying to get to the bottom of what I call the cover-up of this. So what you're saying is ridiculous because there should have been an investigation.
I'm reading
of that.
her
It
words,
never happened.
knucklehead. I'm reading her words.
Oh, so it never gets. Things don't get covered up, right? Something like that.
I
course
don't
they
think
do.
I don't think
Look
I
at
don't
the-
think
look at-
anybody
Look
argues.
at the Hillary email scandal. That got covered up.
Oh, there you
come
go again,
on.
Mike.
I don't know.
on.
I don't know if that got covered up. It seems like there was a lot of coverage of it. No,
It
but
did get covered up by the FBI and the.
Sure, the FBI is so pro Clinton. Do you know anything about the FBI?
Yeah, I've watched it for the last
And
few
they,
years.
and what happened under Louis Freeh? He went after Clinton in a big way, similar to this in kind, if not degree, over China. Come on, the FBI is the FBI. To say the idea that the FBI is some left-wing bastion is mind-boggling.
No, I don't think anybody said that.
Jesus,
I said the
wow,
leadership of the current FBI
You
is
mean
a
these
left-wing
very,
nutbag.
these very
What's left of the
conservative people.
FBI are
So a
pretty much
conservative
Republicans now.
Republican is a left-winger.
Who?
So,
What
so
can-
Mueller,
wait, what
who's a
conser-
very conservative Republican, is a left-winger. You
Since
are
when is he a
rewriting-
left? Since when
You
is
know,
he a conservative?
He's been a Republican for years. What are you talking
ridiculous.
about?
I
That's
didn't. Yeah, a lot of people
ridiculous.
call themselves conservatives. That doesn't make them conservative.
Because we are all in the mainstream.
So there's a lot of fake
We're
in
in
the
the
a lot of people call
mainstream.
themselves Republican and aren't Republican.
Because they are
A
Republicans.
lot of people call them themselves Democrats,
So is-
but they're communists.
Well, I'm proud to be called an
You ever
independent.
meet, if you met a communist, huh? Come on. This
Hey,
is
why is
ridiculous.
it? Why is it? You guys are news people. Let me ask you one more question.
yes.
Why is it that the news people don't want to see all of these records that the DOJ continues to not turn over about that whole scandal?
Hey, why does
I
the
think-
union
Since
leader
when does
want
the
to
news
see things?
not want to see it?
I think we want to see it. It's not being provided to them.
I want to see as much as we
Yeah,
can
why,
see.
No,
why
that's
aren't they
not true.
providing it?
You ever hear of the First Amendment?
Trump wants to expose the FISA warrants, and news media doesn't want to see it. Now they're
And
all.
do you know anything about a FISA court
Yes.
and how strict it is? You don't know anything about this, like Mike. You talk about stuff you don't know, and you're experts in this stuff. It's just ridiculous to a point. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Why-
They call
wait, wait.
Mueller, somebody a conservative Republican, to these people. Because
Wait, you
know,
keep calling him a conservative Republican.
Just because
Where the
you're,
hell do you get
just
that?
because you're
Where
so
do you
far out
get
on
that
the
he's a
right.
conservative Republican?
Because I'm a mainstream person. I'm in the
Wait.
mainstream.
Why do you
know,
call him a conservative
because
Republican?
that is what he is.
Why?
The people.
Why do you say that? How do you
Why?
back that up?
This is crazy.
Picking
Because
guy's a liberal communist.
I-
He supported
You're
the
an-
Clintons.
You're an
I think
idiot.
Matt-
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're
Matt?
Mike
Yes.
wears army
Clinton,
boots.
you don't even know what a
I think it's time to do traffic.
Yes.
you know what a
I think
Clinton
it
is.
Oh wait, we got to do. Hang on, guys.
It's time to go to a
All
break.
right.
Oh, Mike,
Sorry,
are you leaving us?
sorry I
Keep
caused the
going.
discussion.
No, you
it's-
didn't cause
it's
no,
good.
it's
See you
fun.
later.
It's all
It's
healthy.
fun when you
All right,
call.
thanks, Mike. No, Pete just reminded me though. We do need to do. It is time to do traffic. Here we go. Hang
Your
on.
mother
Who's
wears
doing the
army
traffic?
boots.
Oh, it stopped.
Good
Sorry.
enough. Good enough.
No. We need the whole thing.
Oh, that was good enough.
Traffic is good. Traffic is good. That's it.
It goes back to Egyptian
There we go.
times.
Wow.
That was it.
Woo.
Is
got
Mike
traffic?
Doyle still there? Where's Mike?
No, Mike hung up.
He's out scraping up
he-
squirrels.
He apologized actually for
thanks
for,
a lot. I was having
for
a great afternoon.
No
starting
need for an
that, but
apology.
I was
But,
having
uh,
a great afternoon until Mike Doyle called.
I was enjoying the discussion.
Who's Mike Doyle?
A very spirited discussion on this side of the room.
He's a great sports fan, and he had a show. But was that on Thursdays? At
No, he
7.
doesn't have a show anymore.
But it was with the on Thursdays. He was the bear, right?
He was the bear.
Yeah.
And-
Why are you calling him a bear? What are you saying
No,
about
I
him?
think he was the big guy.
Oh,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
the bear?
It was called the big guy and the bear. Wasn't
Bear
it?
and the big guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The bear
so
and the big
guy
guy,
was
or-
the waterwork.
And then it
became the
was
waterworks guy.
after further review was the actual title of the
That's
show.
true.
Oh.
Yeah,
With
I used to watch
Bear
that.
and the big guy.
Oh, yes. It's all very confusing. We have another call.
I have a funny story about that, but I'll have to tell you
I have to
afterwards.
go.
Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
It's Mike Doyle.
Hi, is this the morning show?
No.
It's the
Peter's
Jim
here.
O'Connell show.
No?
It's currently the
Oh,
afternoon.
I have a traffic report.
You have a traffic report. Let's hear it.
Yes, there's a fire engine on Wellington Road.
Where's the? Oh, I know where.
Oh.
But where though? Exactly.
Oh, up the street here. I'm going to follow it, okay?
All right.
Don't get too close
Okay.
now.
I think she works for Michael Avenatti.
You gonna call us back and let us know?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank
Wow,
you.
that's great.
Wow, great. All right.
Traffic is good. That's it.
It goes back to Egyptian time.
Very exciting. Yes.
It was a very good show,
Fire
but I got to go
truck.
back and finish my
Where
work.
the hell are you going?
He's
I
putting
gotta
in
go
his.
finish my work. My this is not burned. I got to start the next show.
Things
He's
are
right.
things are just getting cooking.
I
Glenn.
know.
Have you got the visa for Australia? Does it come through?
What do I need a visa for Australia for?
I thought you were going down under. What
Why
are we
am I
making?
going down under?
What are we making the documentary
I'm going to
for
go
then?
up in the air, not down under.
Oh, so you're going to be hot air ballooning?
Oh, God, you're funny.
Hot air
How far do you
ballooning?
Thanks for
think
having
of
me
going?
as usual.
Glenn,
hot air-
R.J. Willett, you're always welcome.
Send me that link and I'll take
You're
the
hot
show.
air
Yes.
ballooning this weekend?
Glenn's
No,
going
he's
around the
making that
world
up
in
like
about
anything
8
else he
minutes
makes
this
up.
weekend.
Nice.
Fake
Up
news.
and under.
I like that.
All right.
Goodbye.
Glenn R.J. Willett
Somebody
leaves us.
sit over there.
Still trying to get that Mike Doyle call out of my head. Really shook me up this afternoon.
Right. Well, Mike was actually.
A gentleman.
Yes. He was. But he
Glenn,
lit
we
the.
can't hear you, man.
He lit
I'll
the
go over
fuse.
there. Yeah, Mike's always fun though.
Yes.
He's so irrational.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Mike has parties.
Does he? Oh no.
Irrational about Trump.
I don't think Mike's that irrational. Well, maybe. I don't know. All right. So
Oh, here he is, Johnny.
yes.
West High, 71.
So what else is new? The Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
No, I'm just still upset about this whole Kavanaugh thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find it completely unbelievable.
But how do you know?
No one
First
else?
of all, if
John.
Wiener Schnitzel will keep from interrupting for a second, I'll make my case. I don't know if he can do that, but
I'm not Jim O'Connell.
so they had the hearings, right?
Yeah. Yes.
There was a time for hearings. The Democrats have basically, in effect, promised that they will stop at nothing to stop the Kavanaugh nomination. They haven't said it outright, but they've implied it many times. They'll do whatever it takes. Okay.
Yeah.
If the Democrats actually believed Professor Ford, they could have and should have introduced it during the time for hearings when there would have been time for the Senate to investigate, have her up, testify, and then have corroborating evidence or corroborating witnesses and the normal things that are supposed to go on during a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Dianne Feinstein held on to it
Right.
until after those hearings, just before the vote, so that there is no time to respond to it. It's a media
There's time
frenzy.
to respond
you
to
said
it.
you said you'd let me finish, lying bastard. So
None of that language.
so you have this event right after, so
Yeah.
there's no time to respond. I believe that the Democrats, if they actually believed her, would have had her on early, which still would have sabotaged the process without disrupting or corrupting the system. Because we have a system in place where the Senate is allowed to, after the president nominates, to go over somebody's application, decide whether they're consistent with the Constitution, and vote yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then once that story started falling apart, then they came up with another story. And now this last story of some woman that went to 10 different parties where there was gang rapes at apparently each one of these parties. None of it is actually believable. If they had done it on time and introduced this person during the process and women came out at the time and said, yeah, he did that to me too, I would find it that would be worrisome. But this is just, I think this is, the thing is it's so far beyond the pale of what should be done during a nomination process that I find it maddening. Done.
Peter's
you
trying
mean
to,
like giving a nominee of the president
Peter's
a
trying to-
There was
chance to
someone
be
out there
heard,
before.
like
Oh.
with Obama? That he was stripped of a right to even get a hearing.
That's not. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this particular set of.
You know. First of all, there is time.
Here we go.
There's as much time as Chuck Grassley wants there to be.
Until-
for you
until
to say
they-
that
until
that's
they vote.
not true.
Well, let's.
For you to say that's not true is false.
Hang on, guys,
Because there's
let's-
as much time. And to say that a victim of sexual assault is just going to naturally come forward when what happens to them, being raked over the coals, insulted by the president's son, insulted by the president, to be vilified, to say that that is not a factor is not true.
Hang on. Let's grab this call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
Bro, pal Fred, boy, I'm telling you, what an interesting show you got today.
Fred Bonig.
A bunch of white men talking about women being, how women should act when they've been.
And
been
why
sexually
can't
abused.
why can't a white man talk about that? I handled a rape when I was a barracks sergeant in the United States Army.
Okay.
So
All I'm
I'm not
saying is
allowed to
it's
talk
amazing
about that.
that, and the fact that you did that, and the fact that what you just said, I'm with you. You were right. You were exactly right.
And
on what
I
you just
loved
said.
a woman that was raped, and the effect of a rape on a woman's psyche is tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. And
the huge percentage of women in this country that have been sexually abused. But the interesting part about this is when you read this woman's credentials, you realize she's not making this up, because there's no reason that woman with as much credentials as she is would risk her job, her career,
a security
her all
clearance.
that to lie under oath. But you notice
She's
that
not
nobody
under
on the
oath
other
yet.
side is willing to sign a under oath statement.
Right. Now, are you referring to Julie Swetnick, the new accuser?
Yes.
Yeah, with the security clearances and everything. Yeah.
You'd lose your
I mean,
security
you look at who
clearance,
she works
Gary,
for.
to
You look
lie.
at who
Have
she
you
is.
had one?
And you also look at the other woman from Pepperdine. She is a doctor in psychology.
Right.
I mean, these are not just this isn't the Duke girl who was who had been caught lying her whole life. These are professional women with great careers, with all that,
And much
risking
to
it.
lose.
Risking everything, and will forever be tarnished by this, no matter what happens.
Attacked,
Right.
vilified,
For what?
insulted,
to lie?
saying that they're lying.
Right. Well, that's why, I mean, my position continues to be I want to hear them out. And I mean, regardless of the timing of it, I mean, to me, it's not, and this is where I would disagree with you, Gary, on what you were saying. I think the time is up when they take the vote, basically. But until then, I mean, anything that comes
So
forward.
why did they wait till like 2 days before the vote?
Are you in the mind of
Because
the
it
woman?
was the last person got out. Why didn't everybody talk about Harvey Weinstein until all of a sudden somebody came out?
Do you know
Right.
the news media sat on that story about Weinstein for 10 years, including the New York Times and the LA Times?
Yeah, and they sat on the story about Professor Ford since July. Why did they sit on that?
Well, that was Feinstein sat on it, right?
No,
because
it wasn't just her. It was the news media. She released that to the news media. This last lady, okay, her lawyer comes out.
What do you mean, why? Out of respect for somebody that was claiming
Anyway.
sexual assault? Do you have any respect for that?
This last lady that came out, what the hell did she do? Her lawyer posts her picture on social media and said, please respect her privacy.
Right.
Her name and her picture on social media and says, please respect her privacy. They're all full of crap.
You're insulting. That's insulting to me as a human being. Your contempt for these women is insulting.
I have contempt for the process, and the
You have a
process
contempt for
has
the
been
process?
hijacked.
They
the
have
process
not.
been
Yeah, by the
perverted
Republicans
and
who
hijacked.
refused to give them a hearing. 50
They did not
55
refuse
minutes.
anybody. In fact, they bent
Gary,
over
once
backwards
again,
to give
you're
order
making
hearing.
stuff up.
They said, "Come up on Monday." No, I can't.
With
I
a
can't. I can't take a plane.
Unprecedented
Come
to get a
on, what a
prosecutor.
crock of bull! She
you're-
can't take a plane
you're
to
abhorrent.
Washington D.C.
And,
to testify. And even up until yesterday, she was changing her story whether or not she'd testify. This is all BS. If you can't see it, whatever.
Oh, I can see very plainly what what you're saying. Your contempt.
I don't have any contempt.
Your contempt for these women.
I have contempt for the Democratic Party. It will stop at nothing.
Stop at nothing. You mean asking for a hearing for these women?
The Republicans capitulated even after the process.
Well, wait a minute. Did they
said,
not
come
do
up
an
on Monday.
investigation?
She says, no,
Did they not
I
open the
can't
background
take a
check?
plane.
Why
I've
is that?
got
And why have they
claustrophobia.
not
I'm gonna
asked
take
anybody
a
to
freaking
testify
How can you
under
crock of
oath?
BS.
You have
This is all
absolute
BS.
Your lack
Hang
of
on.
compassion is startling.
Hang on, guys. Fred
What are-
wanted to interject with something. Go ahead, Fred.
Did you get on the
I
ballot?
said-
Oh, that's another thing.
I said nobody, if they were really interested in having the truth, the same thing that Judge Kavanaugh's wife was asked and that he stepped over her to not let her say was, if believe me, if I was the guy who was innocent, I'd want every FBI agent, I'd want everybody digging up every bit of information to
That is
prove
another
that I was
BS.
innocent.
That is also BS. The FBI investigation is a crock. It is entirely intended to delay the process so that there is no vote before November because
Three
the
days is
moronic
November.
Democrats believe they're
3
going to
days
gain
is
control of the
November.
Senate. That's what this is all
Wait
about.
a minute.
That's all
As
it's
you
about.
just remember this. They did it for Anita Hill, and it took 2 days.
And it would take 2 or 3 days.
Right. It would take, if they had done it when they were asked,
so they're supposed
it
to
would
delay
all
it
be
for
in,
2
it
or
would
3
all be
days.
done by now.
Then somebody will also come out. They have to delay it for 2
And
or
if
3
somebody
days.
Well,
does
then,
come
gee,
You don't see the
then,
pattern?
gee, if
Yeah, I
someone
see
else
a
came
pattern
out,
of
then
the
maybe there's
behavior
a
of this
problem.
guy.
This is not a trial. This is a job interview.
Why
And
do you-
believe me, if every person in the
Why
world
did
came out
so
about
if she's so
women
innocent,
after women, I
if
would not
she's
hire
so
the guy.
truthful, why did Ford ask to have him testify first? If she really wants to arrive at the truth, if the Democrats
Because-
and the
You know
want
about
to
because-
arrive at the
you don't
truth,
even care
why
about
would he have to
Wait,
testify
instead of
first
shouting over me,
when he doesn't
I'm on
even
the
know
phone.
what the
Hang on.
allegations
Stop.
are?
Hang on, Fred's
This
trying
is
to.
all a crock.
Fred-
You guys are caught freaking brain dead.
Fred's trying to answer you. Go ahead, Fred.
A lot of love.
When Anita Hill testified, she testified second because of that exact reason. You do understand there is a precedent for all this, and they have done none of the things that they
There's a
have already
precedent
have
for
a
the
precedent
accused?
for. Anita
There's
Hill
a
did not
precedent for the
testify
accused to
first.
testify before their accuser? Where is that a
Yeah.
precedent for that?
He just told you if you'd listen.
No,
He just told you.
They get to. She's already given a statement. He should have
Right.
to answer
This is
to the
ridiculous.
statement, and then
Oh,
she
no,
should
no,
be able
no,
to come
no,
back.
No, you don't go
and
to
say
court
what-
and somebody. You don't go to court as the accused and then wait.
You don't
and
go to-
testify.
you don't go to
and then
court
the
without an
accuser gets up and
investigation.
say,
Do you
to
have any
adjust their-
idea the evolution in the last generation over how to handle sexual harassment and rape? Or are you stuck in some friggin' past that can't even be understood through the mists of time? Do you have any idea how a woman was
Hey,
treated
man, I'm gonna let
when
you
she
go. I
was
figured I'd
raped?
just throw some beans in
You know
there.
how a woman
All
was
right.
treated?
Thank you, Fred.
It was
I love
raped
you.
in the
All
army
right.
in
You too, man.
1980s.
Thanks.
Do you know what they would do
I
to a
do.
woman in the army, even in the military intelligence unit, that came forward with sexual harassment? They'd put her in a psych unit.
What
So
did-
don't give me this stuff
What
about.
do they do to men that were accused somebody of rape?
You know, Gary, cut the bull. You just don't want. You just want to ramrod this
Nope.
guy through. The idea that then somebody else would come back. When has this happened before? And when we had what's his name, Clarence Thomas, other people didn't come forward, did they? It was that one thing. Come on, this could be done by early
so
October.
you're saying that Clarence Thomas was innocent?
Not saying that at all. I believe that Anita Hill was right, but it was only the one person.
So
Right,
What does
it
the
wasn't.
number have
I
to do
wouldn't
with
know.
it?
I
if
think-
you don't believe either one of. You didn't believe when it was just one person. Is it possible you just presume that? It's like there's a lot of people out there that currently.
So these women with lots to lose and to be harassed by
There's
a certain
United States
knuckle dragging
senators-
Cro-Magnons,
there's
they are just going to come forward for S's and giggles because it's so easy to come forward and talk about that, right? Which it's not. Do you know what
Do
happens
you have
to
any
women?
idea what they won't stop at? to stop him?
Are you
Did
crazy?
you see the
What?
protest
You know what?
after Trump got elected?
Are you crazy?
There were women dressed up as giant vaginas
Are you
in Washington,
crazy?
D.C.
They could
These people are
this
out
guy,
of their effing mind.
This guy has no dignity.
They've lost their grip.
You know, you're insulting, and you know.
Wise men say
Oh, Eric Eastman is here, by the way.
Hey, did you get on the ballot?
fools rush in.
Did you get on the ballot?
Can't confirm this guy too hastily.
Wait, you can wait 2 weeks,
Just saying.
and then they get the vote.
I agree.
This
I agree,
is
Eric.
actually not Eric at all. This is
Oh.
Erica Victoria Blackwood, Eric's alter ego. And
Oh.
I just wanted to, here and now, publicly confess that I'm rather disappointed that, although I know that the good Judge Kavanaugh was using a lot of women to get to me, he never quite made the trip. And I'm here stuck in Manchester, just pining away, pouting, poo, oh poo.
So you're
So you
making,
think rape's funny?
So I think,
Rape's a hilarious thing, huh?
No, not at all. I've been here waiting, biding my time. The
You know-
phone is dead. It's not even ringing, and I frankly
You know what?
am verklempt about it.
You think you know what? Why are you two guys even on a Manchester station? That's what I'm going to ask. Because I'm not going to be on with something like that. I'm not going to be with somebody that makes fun of rape. You think it's funny? You really think it's funny, a rape or sexual harassment?
Actually,
when
he's
you're
not- he
making
has-
your faces at
First
that?
of all, Kavanaugh has not been accused of rape.
I'm not going to be on with you people. It's disgusting.
Well,
and
you're
I'm going to
saying-
make an inquiry about your show. Because why are these two anti-tax people who are using my tax dollars to be on a show on? You know what? That's bullshit.
Oh, I gotta hit
Whoa.
the
Yeah,
stop
you
button
think
there.
it's funny, Gary?
I didn't say
You
it was
think
funny.
rape's funny? And you two? You think a rape is funny? You're assholes.
Oh, I gotta
Whoa.
hit
And,
the.
yeah, you know, let's look into how you even got a show on Manchester Public TV.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
Interesting how the fellow conflated rape with a simple declaration from a lonely lady.
right.
It's really not the same thing.
Well, that,
whatsoever.
The other thing too is Kavanaugh has not been accused of rape.
Right. Well,
There is nobody that's accused him of raping anybody. And so John going off about rape is funny. That hasn't even been brought up. There is that one
Right.
woman, the last woman has said that women were raped,
right.
but never said that he was. I don't think she said. He said she was there,
Right.
but I don't think she's actually accused him of raping anybody.
Yeah. Well, Kavanaugh. So this is what I've been saying as far as Christine Blasey Ford and her allegation, because what I have noticed is, so let's say for the moment she's correct, because my position is I don't know, and I can't prove it one way or the other. But if she is correct, then if her story, because her story is that he grabbed her, threw her
Yeah.
into a room, pinned her down, tried to forcibly remove her clothes, tried to cover her mouth with his hand when she tried to scream for help.
Right.
And
That's the story.
I've heard a lot of people say, defenders of Kavanaugh, with this line about, well, everybody in high school, gropes girls and this and that. It's like, no. If, and it's a giant if, but if what she says he did, that is an attempted rape. That's not a completed rape, but pinning someone down and trying to rip their clothes off, it's an attempted rape, which obviously is very troubling. And if
It is very troubling. But there's so many holes in that story, and
well, I want to hear her testify before I make any judgment about holes in the story.
Yeah, I get that, but I look at it. I've got kids, right? And as much as John Hopwood would not like to believe it, I've dealt with situations like this before, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I don't have any sympathy for people that go over the top and actually force girls into anything.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no way that's even within my superstructure.
Right.
So, but that being said, I've had children. When a child says, "I'm sick, I really can't go to school," you look at them and check what's going on, right?
Yeah.
But if a child says, you know that a child has a test the next day, and they stayed up late playing video games instead of studying for the test, and then they say, hey, I don't feel good, I don't want to go to school, you go, all right, this is BS, and you send them to school. Because you know the situation, the parameters involved in the statement. Okay? So with Professor Ford's statement, the parameters that it's within tell me it's a crock of BS. Because if, like, for instance, Dianne Feinstein knew about this in November, right? July, I'm sorry. She knew about this in July. The press knew about it in July. Now, if her statement was credible, and they investigated, because I'm sure they did, they looked into it, Dianne Feinstein would have looked into it to try to find its merit, unless she's an idiot, and I don't think she is. If they had found something to verify that that was a true statement, they would have introduced her right away, and it would have knocked him off knocked him right out of the park right away.
Yeah, but
this is my belief.
Yeah.
Because there was no corroborating evidence that they didn't believe it, and they knew who she was, that she's one of these people that is so far to the left that will stop at nothing. They waited till after the test, after all the hearings, and then introduced the information, trying to subvert the situation. So to me, the situation involved in it makes it completely less than credible. Then the requirement that he testifies first, that's ridiculous. That's an insane proposition when she really hasn't clarified when and where anything happened, because she doesn't seem to know. She should testify first, then he can rebut. That's how it works. The fact that she said she is claustrophobic and can't take a plane to get there by Monday to testify before the Senate, and then has all these parameters of what they can and can't ask her, where they can ask her, and all this other crap. I just don't believe a bit of it.
See, I want to see it play out, because to me,
well, the Senate said to let it play out.
Because if Kavanaugh, see, this is the thing. If Kavanaugh's not guilty of anything, then what's the problem? Let's hear everything. Let it all air out. I want to hear her testify. I think she didn't want. I mean, it sounds to me like she was concerned about what was going to happen to her and who could blame her when she did come forward with this, because now she, everyone who's in opposition to her obviously is attacking her and calling her a liar. I mean, it's a big step to come forward with something like this if it's true. And again, I'm saying if, but I'm not convinced one way or another. But to disbelieve her out of hand, I think is taking a leap. I want to hear everything, but it's
I'm not opposed to hearing everything.
Yeah.
But the problem is what's going to happen now. If you just carte blanche say, well, we want to hear everything.
Right.
What the Democrats will do is they'll come out, if we have the hearing on Thursday, it's supposed to be tomorrow. They'll come up with another accusation on Friday, and then the following Friday, and the following Friday, until we get past the November election. They will stop at nothing, Matt. This is not about sex abuse. This is about stopping Kavanaugh no matter what.
See, I don't believe that, because what if the accusations are true? And they may be. And if they're true, then it's not about that. If they're true, then it's about knowing the truth about this guy.
I just don't buy it at all. I think it's a total crock. I think it's absolutely positively people lying to try to stop him, regardless of the cost to the country, the state, or anything else.
But why?
If they had come out early, I mean, the guy's been nominated a bunch of times.
But why not do
different
this?
Court.
Sure.
Let me finish. He went up to the other court. How many times has he been investigated by the FBI?
6.
Like 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's gone to different hearings in the Senate.
Yeah.
A bunch of times, and nobody came forward with anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if he went to the Supreme Court and they said, "Okay, this is it. Some woman is sitting there. She's been abused by him, and she feels like she really has to say something," then she should have done it in July. They should have. And the letter. Why did it go to only Feinstein? Why did that letter not go to everybody?
I can't.
Why did the lady says, "Look, this guy abused me," and that should have gone to the majority leader and the minority leader to the chairman of the Senate committee and the vice chair of the Senate committee. It should have gone to everybody so that everybody knows, so that everybody has a chance to deal with it.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
I can't.
They
yeah,
only
I
sent
can't
it
make
to
any
Feinstein in the
judgments.
press.
I can't make any judgments about that if it is true on how she chose to
Hey,
handle
I
it.
gotta go upstairs.
You do, and we got to
And
wrap
I guess
up.
my
'cause
show's going to be canceled
there
by
is-
tomorrow anyway. So.
I very much doubt it. Doubt that. But
hey,
plug your show before you go.
Rock Paper Hand Grenade is on at 6, and we don't have any guests tonight. It's just going to be me and Eric. So feel free to call in and yell at us.
All right, very
All right,
good.
bye,
All
guys.
right, thanks, Gary. All right, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper leaves us, and Eric left. Everyone, wow, I had a full house a little while ago, and now everyone is left. John Hopwood left, very, very upset. But yeah, wow, this has been probably one of the liveliest shows ever. Let's see, real quick, because we do have to wrap up because we got another live show coming in after me, just in time for sports. But Fred in the Facebook live chat did point out there were 3 other women the Senate refused to hear in the Anita Hill case. John Midas Manning, DJ Midas, who also has a show here on Saturday nights at starting at midnight, Late Night Delight. He pointed out Mueller is a conservative Republican. Fred, actually, there's some other stuff. I don't want to go too far back with this, but anyway. So thank you to everybody who participated in the Facebook live chat. Thank you to everybody who participated in the live show. Thank you, Peter White. It was. This was a here. Let me turn that mic on for a second. This was a lively one, huh?
Yeah, it was a good one.
That was pretty wild. And
Right.
But you weren't in the room when Hopwood stormed out, were you?
No, I did see him though.
Yes.
In the hallway.
Yes.
All
is
fired up.
Is he? Oh, okay. So he's still upset.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, Pete, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Matt.
And this gentleman over here, hey, you want to plug your show real quick?
Yeah, coming up at 6, we got the Just in Time with myself, Kyle Heavey, and Justin Gorham. We're going to be talking all sorts of things. We got a guest from the Tyler Murray of the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, who just won the championship 2 weeks ago. And we've been talking all local, and Red Sox just keep on winning today. They scored more runs today than the Patriots scored on Sunday night.
Well,
So-
very good. All right. All right, so stick around for that. Thank you. Just in Time for Sports coming up next here on WMNH. And if you missed any part of today's show, and it was a barn burner, as Lou D'Alessandro would say, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. I'm out of here for now. Talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.